Yo, hey, what's up, guys? So, KaizenEXE here. I'm going to weaponize the masses with this one. I've recently discovered Android 18, and she's busted. Like, oh my god. She feels like Black Panther from Marvel Rivals, but in a MOBA. It's kind of insane. I played 50 games with her, and she legitimately is crazy. So here are the do's and don'ts of playing Android 18 in Genshin Squadra. Quick shout out to my friend Madison for the sick thumbnail. So now let's start talking about her passive. So her passive, Assault Rush. It's an ability that grants a buff against assault targets, which is a stackable um thing. Applies stack to enemies when skills or powered up attacks land, and it'll deal more damage to those with enough stacks to trigger assault target, right? So basically, assault target is when you use a skill, or after you use a skill, you get a powered up rush attack. It gives them a stack that goes underneath their like player character that you'll be able to see. The max stack is 4, and her kit is basically built around them having a whole bunch of stacks on them, and then her doing like crazy amounts of damage during that fight. Now with her passive in mind, we can talk about her rush attack. Her rush attack is basically just a physical attack. It's not that big of a range, but the range gets increased after you use a skill, and it becomes empowered, right? Which increases its damage and its range. This is really good for like doing consistent burst damage in a fight, but this only really applies after you use a skill. So you need to engage with one of your skills in order to really show like, pressuring damage. Um After that, we have her most important skill, skill 3, Excel Dash, right? This skill is her most important for damage. It is actually, in my opinion, your main engagement target. I mean, your engagement attack. It can be reactivated after hitting someone or an NPC. This skill really helps with her passive, allowing her to stack the assault target as fast as possible. With that said, skill 2, which is Thunder Step, right? It does crazy amounts of burst damage. Like I mean, um like it is almost scarily like nobody expects you to take that much damage in a fight when you have like maxed out assault target stacks, right? Even if it's not maxed out, it still does a lot of damage. Um then we have our skill 1, right? It's our long range engagement skill, and it also helps finishes off low HP targets if they end up escaping from, our assaults, right? This skill also stacks your passive. I mean, all your skills stack your passive, but in terms of like importance to your passive, it's skill 3, then skill 1, then skill 2, right? Now we talk and get onto her ultimate. When I say her ultimate is crazy, it is crazy. If there are any KOs or assists around her, or if she's included in them, no, not even or. If she is included in them, it shortens the cooldown to her ultimate, which is pretty great. Her ultimate stuns one person on a hit and does a whole bunch of burst damage based on how many stacks. All right, let's get into the meat and potato of things. With the basics out of the way, here's her pro and cons. We're gonna start with her cons first. Get the bad news out the way. If you miss an Excel dash, her value gets significantly decreased. And I recommend falling back and playing with your Destructo Disc from distance until your dash cooldown is reset. That cooldown is like 13 seconds. If you miss either the initial one, especially the initial one, and then you miss any of the resets, you got to just leave the fight, bro. You're no longer like super useful. You could still destructo disc into electric, yeah, lightning step, but it's a little bit more risky. And with that, she is extremely not extremely, but she's very squishy, right? She can be killed very quickly after somebody like Go Tanks or Gohan stunning her. So if your team's not there and you get caught, you're pretty much dead. I mean, anybody is, but you're pretty much like dead faster than most, and you eat a Kamehameha to the face, you're pretty much just out the gonzo. And I also learned she really doesn't have any way to like avoid nuking ults aside from like stunning them before the ult even goes off. But she'd have to use her ult for that. And it's really one really really big con that I saw from her, and it's like scarily apparent is she hard loses to Cooler. His Death Stopper skill cancels her skill 3, and you have to wait to use it again, and it cancels it to the point where you can't even use the resets. So if you see a Cooler, let him use Death Stopper first, then start going in, but be very careful about that. Now we go on to her pros. For starters, she is a 1v1 queen. She can 1v1 a lot of characters and win those fights pretty easily and pretty fast too. Like she's like her the executions that she can do is kind of gross. Like I can take on a tank and legitimately kill them. I'd say in a few seconds, right? So that's pretty big. Any DPS, if she catches them first, they can die very very. They can die before you. They even like think about putting any damage on you, which is disgusting. Um, you see a whole bunch of that earlier in the video, watching those highlights. Another pro for she has a lot of burst damage. Her ultimate's very bursty. Her thunder lightning step does a lot of burst damage. Um, thanks to her dashing all the time, it's actually really hard to like keep up with her and like actually like hit her. Um, so that's another cool thing. Um, she makes low HP targets regret joining the fight because her destructo beam can simply just like kill them from a distance because it pierces through people. So it'll go past the tank, behind the tank if there's like somebody still like trying to like be battle support, and she can just burst kill them out with that. Um, she chunks bosses thanks to her passive into lightning step or alt to confirm the objective. Um, that's basically it about her pros and cons. If there's anything that I missed or any like other pros or cons that y'all have, drop it in the comment section. I will gladly read those. Um, since we're at the midpoint of the video, I hope you like and subscribe. Please, help a brother out. Um, Now we're gonna get on to my personal favorite topic when it comes to talking about characters, the best card combos. Yo, for like a balanced build, you could honestly go Snowball, Solid Barrier, into Limit Breaking Jump. This set allows you to do more damage. This set allows you to, do more damage for assisting kills, a barrier that shields you once, and then allows you to vanish twice with the press of one button, which is really safe. It allows you to keep your snowball stack. It allows you to get out of certain situations. This also has a card is a combo bonus that gives you a small amount of attack and defense plus plus a tiny amount of cooldown reduction, which can come in clutch in certain battles. Um, and for the people that's all about the damage, all about the want to rail you down. Pause. You can go Snowball, Giant Slayer, and Pursuer. We already know what Snowball does at this point, right? So Giant Slayer, you get an attack buff for targets 80 health, above 80% health and above. This buff lasts until the end of the fight, so when you engage, oh, you be chunking. And Pursuer, I feel like was tailor made for 18, right? It triggers when you use two skills in 2 seconds and you get an attack buff for it. It triggers on double dash. So like you can dash, get the reset, dash again, and it triggers. And you do a gross, and I mean a gross amount of damage. This card combo, this it's a card combo again. This combo bonus gives you a lot of damage. Like, and finally, you can mix and match all the cards I stated above. If you have any, other card I set ideas, drop them in the comments. Um, I can also say you could also use, I think it's the second blue card to give you like slightly more movement speed, but that's only for like late game if you lose your snowball stacks at the end. So that's really about it, and I hope y'all enjoy Android 18. I hope this was really helpful for anybody who's trying to learn 18. I tried to learn 18. I didn't see anything on the internet, so I decided to make a video for it. For anybody who's wondering it, lead them here, share it around, and I would really appreciate it. Kaizen out.